Well, hey everybody, Matthew Omican here for the Hornets Nest, but more importantly with my friends here at Sports on Focus. And we're here in the high school today talking to the newly hired Colby Hornet varsity football head coach, Logan Rosemeyer. Hello, Logan.
Hey.
How are you doing today?
Pretty good, you?
I'm doing fantastic.
Good.
But Sports on Focus said, like, hey, this is a big deal. We got the passing of the torch for this prestigious football program, and I said, hey, we should probably get to know this guy a little bit more. So that brings us here today. So I got a few questions I wanted to ask, but it took up half a page. So are you ready?
Yep.
All right. What were you thinking? No, I'm just kidding. No, we won't ask that one. But hey, my first question is to clarify for everybody at home and especially Hornet Nation, what relation are you to Jeff Rosemeyer?
Yeah, so Jeff is my uncle. I'm from Gilman. My dad is head football coach at Gilman, so that's kind of the difference there.
Okay, so you're the nephew.
Yep.
I got you. Yeah, because there was a few people like that, and you said you saw that too. That commented on our social page that they thought that you're his kid.
Yep.
No, not necessarily.
Nope.
So getting into this more, let's maybe start at the beginning. When did you first start coaching?
So I first started coaching first year out of high school. I went to college at Eau Claire, and I'd kind of go back to Gilman on Fridays to help out in the booth a little bit. So I did that for 2 years, and then I decided I want to be a little more involved day to day with a lot of the practices, stuff like that. So I ended up volunteering at Altoona, helping out there. So volunteered for a year, and then did JV for a year, and then the third year I ended up being the varsity defensive coordinator. So started there. After that, I ended up graduating from college, so I had to go student teach. I ended up at Menominee, so coached for a year under Labuda. That was a really good experience, and then got my first job teaching in Abbotsford. So I spent a year there, and then the last 5 years have been here at Colby.
So when you said that you wanted to get more involved in day-to-day, what parts of that intrigued you, or why did you want to get, like, because it sounds like the day-to-day stuff can be, like, pushing the paperwork or chasing after kids to get their grades up or stuff like
it'd be
that.
more being involved in practice and kind of the planning for the week, that sort of stuff. It's kind of being a little more involved with the drills we run, some of the plays we run, stuff like that.
So you wanted to be more immersive in the...
Right.
Nice.
Yep.
I like that. So you said you had coached basketball at Abbotsford, but before that, while you were at college, you went right to football, and I don't think it's any secret, the Rosemeyer family carries a heavy football tradition. So for you, what does the sport of football mean to you?
I guess it's my hobby. I mean, a lot of people
It's your
around here,
hobby.
I mean, a lot of people around here go hunting, fishing, spend a lot of time on that. I like to coach football.
Well, but like let's round you out a little bit more. Let's dig into that a little bit more. Like at the end of the day, when you're watching football, what makes that a sport that stands apart from all other sports?
I think the fact that there's 22 people on the field at a time, you really have to kind of be aware about how everyone fits in to their role to create either a really good team offense or team defense or special teams or things like that. So I think that, and it's not always necessarily quite as skill-based as maybe like a basketball or something like that, where really you could have a kid in high school that's a junior and it's his first year playing and he could be really good, and you just never know. Where with basketball or other sports, you really have to practice like dribbling or shooting or something, be good at it. Where football, a lot of times you just have to be big and fast.
Oh, so you feel like football kind of gives you that moment of opportunity if you want to take it, kind of deal. That's pretty good. So you've been defensive coordinator for the last 4 years. You got to know the town pretty good, the team pretty well. What have you learned about Colby? What have you learned about Hornet football?
Well, Colby's always been a program I've kind of looked at from afar, just with my uncle coaching for so long. And when I got here, I kind of knew what to expect. Very high standards with football, high expectations. So nothing really new to learn, just more confirmation of what I already thought.
Yeah. On day one, what is going to be your first order of business?
Really, we're going to have a meeting here next week with all the players, just kind of going over some new expectations, what we expect in the off season in school, stuff like that. We'll have a meeting later in May to kind of talk about different dates and things like that for the summer. But
so if we can ask, what's going to be one of them new expectations that you want to see in this football team or in this program, I should say?
Just things with grades, making sure grades stay up. That's probably the biggest one. Make sure behaviors in school are good. So I think that's really important.
Academics first, weightlifting second. I was asking you about this off camera, and clearly I didn't understand how the hiring process works at any district for sports at all. Because I was going to ask you like how the head coach decision-making process was going. So like, maybe I'll start that with you, is how did you know you wanted to be, or that you wanted to apply for this position?
I've known for a while that I kind of want to be a head football coach.
Starting when?
Probably when I was coaching at Altoona. Just to
Way back when.
Yeah. Well, even there, after my third year, the head coach ended up resigning and moved to a different district, actually his home district that he lived in. So helped out there. But that I applied for that job too, so I knew pretty early that this is something I'd want to do.
What part of being a head coach for you makes it so advantageous? Meaning, like, what is the aspects of being a head coach that makes you want it so bad?
I don't know. I guess just being able to kind of oversee everything, being able to make decisions. Obviously, whatever decisions we're going to make it as a coaching staff, but it's nice to be able to kind of have a vision and be able to play that out. Where when you're an assistant, it's more like, you could help out a lot, obviously, throw ideas out, but ultimately the decision comes down to the head coach. So I think that's what kind of draws me to it.
Yeah,
the
you want
ability
to
to kind of run it the way I want to run it. Because I feel like I have a vision for the program. So,
what's one of the parts of that vision that you have for this program?
I guess it'd be more specific, like what we do on offense, what we do on defense. Like offensively, I want to run more formations to be able to maybe outnumber a defense a certain way. Defense, I've been able to do the defense kind of on my own for a while now, so that's been. There's probably not going to be a whole lot of change there, but.
So when you say on your own, like, did they hand you like a milk crate of manila folder saying like this is what the defense is, and then they said make it what you will, or?
No, when Coach Hagan asked me to take over the defense, he said, "Yeah, make it whatever you want."
Okay.
So just kind of did what I wanted to do for as far as defense went.
Who would be in that defensive coordinator role then?
I still will be for now.
You would still be doing that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've kind of tossed around the idea in my head of maybe having someone else call it during the game, but I'll still game plan it during the week, because a lot of the times, a lot of the things we want to do are based on what the offense is doing formation-wise. So it really isn't a whole lot to call it during the game, necessarily the way we do it anyways.
Yeah.
So that would maybe free me up to kind of look at everything, decision-making, fourth downs, whether the punt or not, different things like that.
Yeah, I get that. So Jimmy Flake is still going to be stuck up in the announcing booth then?
I don't know. With the iPads we have on the sideline, it's kind of nice. He might end up down on the sideline, might not have anyone
What is
up
this
in the
roll
booth
up
anymore.
there? What is this roll up there?
So before we had the iPads to be able to look back, all the teams would have somebody in the booth just to kind of have a good vision, or a good, vision on what was happening during the play. Maybe, something was happening on the other side of the field that we couldn't really see from the sideline, but when you're up in the booth, you might be able to see.
I see.
But now with the iPads, you really don't need that quite as much, because any coach can just take an iPad and look back on the previous play.
So your second order of business might be like, hey, Jimmy, you're going to be on the sideline now?
Maybe. We'll see. Might test it out a little bit. See how it goes. Doesn't work, we can bump it back up.
Yep. When you were selected head coach, did Hagan say anything to you, or?
Yeah, he asked me if I wanted it. I said, yeah, sure, I'll take it.
He didn't say any other words of wisdom or anything like that?
No, just said, good luck.
Okay. That sounds like Jim. What is it like coaching with all those guys? I imagine everybody's got their quirks of personalities, and from what I've heard, in a fun way, Robbie can be kind of a handful.
Yep.
So what's it like coaching with all those guys?
It's a really good time. They're all really easy to get along with, all funny. The group text we have, Coach Flink is always saying something dumb, but I don't know. He seems to be the jokester.
Jimmy is?
In our group text for sure. But maybe now that Hagen's gone, he won't have quite as many jokes. He'd always pick on Coach Hagen.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So probably just direct it to me now, I guess.
So who does all the pranks then? Like there's
pranks. Coach Smiles would always do the pranks.
Yeah.
Yep. Coach Smiles would do the pranks. Coach Flink would be on the text chain that we have.
Sounds like a fun time.
There's always something going on. Yeah.
It always sounds like a fun time. This is something that we've kind of talked about at the top, but maybe we'll reiterate it here. Is now you're stepping into this role, and we kind of talked about day one, your vision, what you want to kind of do. What are going to be your top priorities for this Hornet team?
Well, with second semester starting on Monday, the first thing we want to do is make sure everyone is passing, because if you end up failing fourth quarter or second semester, you're out 3 games.
Right.
So making sure everyone is staying up on their grades, making sure guys are getting in the weight room, especially if they're not playing a winter sport right now or a spring sport in the spring. But that's really where we're going right now. Make sure everyone's eligible come fall and make sure everyone's getting in the weight room. So we have the best team possible.
And then does that also mean, like, once it starts getting closer, is that playbook going to get thicker? Is it going to get smaller?
No, we'll probably.
Are you going to have like a new draft?
We'll probably start pretty basic. I think one thing we're going to try to do a little more, kind of touched on it already, do some more formations, try to get numbers and advantages, but also, kind of working the snap count a little bit. Not always necessarily going on 1 or 2, but having
like Brett Favre, Roger style, like bark it out.
Yeah. So maybe having a couple different snap counts, and anytime you add something like that, it's a little more to remember for the kids. So you want to take away somewhere too. If you're going to add something, you want to take away from something, just so there's not like information overload.
Right.
So we'll start pretty basic. Make sure we're nailing our 5 big plays first, and then kind of add as we need to or as we feel comfortable.
Colby's leading the Merriwood, and that's been the talk because how long has that been going, Stephen? Like last 2 years now. It was a conclusion, right? That it was the CWC large, correct? Yeah, so going into CWC large, well, happens to be your rookie head coach season. Yep. You have like a whole new level of conference. I guess I don't even know what to even ask about that going into that conference, because there's a lot of big teams in that.
Yep.
We're going to be some things to get ready for that.
I think teams run a lot more spread in that conference. Not quite the Edgar or Abbotsford type style where everyone's packed in, or even us where everyone's packed in and running the ball a lot. I think there's going to be a little more throwing, a little more option. As far as defense goes, a lot of defenses run odd fronts, so we'll have to be prepared for that. I know our first 2 teams are on even fronts, so it'll be interesting going 2 even fronts to...
Did everybody catch that at home? Odd fronts, even fronts?
So that's usually just 4 down linemen would be an even front, and then 3 or 5 would be an odd front. Just the amount of guys you have on the line.
So besides the formation-wise, is there anything else that really sets that CWC conference style apart from what people gotten to know the Merriwood?
Yeah, I think just week to week it's going to be, a struggle each game. Wittenberg, Stratford, Amherst usually are always good. Spencer's had a run a couple years ago. They're well coached. So week in, week out, it's going to be tough. Like, we're going to have to work hard in practice, have intense practices in order to get ready for each game. We're not going to have any games where it's like, all right, we're playing this team, we'll probably beat them by 40 and won't have to practice all that hard to do it. Like, it's going to be a grind more than the past years.
Do you see that? I know you just said as a grind, but do you feel that this would push the Colby Hornet football program to another level, that we're going into such a robust conference?
Maybe. The previous conference was pretty good too.
Yeah.
Especially with
I'm sorry, not taking anything away from the Marywood or the
Right.
Clover Belt.
Right, especially with Edgar, the last couple of years have been really tough. I mean, it was great to play against them just to really get prepared for what playoff atmosphere would be like. Auburndale has been really good. So the Marywood was really good.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, but historically, the last 15, 20 years, this new conference we're getting into, has some pretty heavy hitters too.
Yeah. But here comes a new one, right?
Yeah, hopefully, yeah.
So then basically, your season kind of starts up, it sounds like, when this next semester rolls around. Kind of get to know the team a little bit, make sure everybody's on track.
Yep.
And then you'll start kind of doing practice midsummer, late summer?
Late July, we start our mini camp, our contact days. So I'll do that. And then there's a week dead period. And I think August 5th or 6th is the first day practice.
Yeah. So I think I'll try to bug you sometime around in August then.
All right, sounds
that
good.
That sounds good. Well, hey, thanks for inviting us into your classroom. It's nice to
absolutely.
be able to experience this desk. It's a lot big, it's a lot smaller than I remember. So,
Me too.
Yeah, well, hey, congratulations on the new hire. Welcome to the Hornet head coach position. Oh, do you think Hagen disinfected his headset before you
I hope
use it?
so.
Or are you going to use your own
Hopefully.
headset?
I don't know. We all kind of just pick whatever one's at the top. So never really have one consistent one.
Oh, really? Nobody has their own?
No.
You don't tape your name on it or
Well,
nothing?
Coach Flink has the one with the two
I
headset
know, he looks
deal.
like an air traffic
Right.
controller.
Yeah.
I don't understand that.
So that's his. He can keep that one.
Oh, okay. So you're hoping that Hagen disinfected his, you said?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's funny. All right. Well, hey, congratulations.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for the interview. And thanks so much for watching this video. If you like this video, make sure you share this with your internet friends. Hit the like button there at the bottom. Thanks to my friends at Sports on Focus, Steven Akinet, for running the camera. And I'm Matthew Olenkin for the Hornets Nest, and we'll catch you next time.